plug or unplug? This is where we get quick takes on various gear and plugins. I'll mention a piece and you just hit me with your gut reaction. Plug if it's something you love and you use a lot. Unplug if it's not your vibe. Or a simple not sure if you haven't really used it or you don't know too much about it.
Can I make commentary? Do you want commentary?
Yeah, sure.
Just,
I don't
or
care.
just straight up plug, no plug.
Like mostly rapid fire.
Rapid
but like
fire,
if you really have something you got to say,
okay,
you can say it.
If it's controversial,
yes,
then maybe I'll.
And you know, controversial is good for that. You know, there's like social media clips.
Yeah, you got a YouTube title.
Right, exactly.
Scott Robinson was just talking shit about UAD plugins.
He hates them.
10 reasons why not to use waves.
And so again, for our listeners, like Scott and I are very, very close. And I know most of your takes. So I really had to go in deep and like think about things that we've never talked about.
So it's almost more likely that I have not used it, possibly.
Maybe.
Okay, I mean, let's see. I
was trying to pick things that like, all right, you should have at least used it.
Okay.
But we've never spoken about it.
Okay.
And, you know, things that like
you did your homework.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I put time into this
You really
podcast.
did, man.
Okay. First one, hardware, TubeTech CL1B.
Plug.
Ooh.
You need it. I mean, I would own one if I could, but it's like if you're going to serve clients, people want it.
Right. That's the only thing is I personally don't like it.
No, it's too fidgety.
Yes.
Yeah.
But there are some people who are just like, just what I recorded.
That's the chain.
Yeah, that's the chain. And I'm like, you're crazy.
Like for the new studio, like we're going to get it.
Yeah. I mean, you need it. If you're a studio, you need it. I don't think you need it if you're like, you know, someone like us where it's like.
And I'll say that I like the plugin too.
Yeah, the plugin's good.
Yeah.
Okay, next. FabFilter Pro R2.
Don't own it.
Don't own it?
I've used it twice, maybe like back in the day when I had a crack.
Yeah, I have it.
I don't need more reverbs. I'm good.
Same. I own it, and I have maybe used it once only because I got a session that was using it.
Unplug.
Yeah, unplug.
I literally unplugged it.
Unplug. The Tao Togu Audio Line Uno LX. They're Juno.
Plug. Put some effects after it, though.
Yes, totally. Teenage Engineering OP1.
Unplug. I mean, like if I had one, I'd probably play with it for a couple months and then put it in a cabinet.
I had it. I didn't use it, and then I sold it.
Everyone should try it once.
Yeah. I think the people who are amazing at it are really good and can make really cool things, but it's like
cool YouTube videos.
It's like learning a new instrument.
Yeah.
That's too much of a commitment.
Yeah.
I have too many commitments.
Yeah.
Okay. AKG C4-on-4. C14.
Unplug, bro. Unplug the fuck out of it. You could say 414, I'd still unplug it. The old ones with the they have a different capsule. They're silver colored instead of gold. And
those ones are better?
They have a C12 capsule in them.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Or is it called a K12? I think a capsule is a K12.
I don't know.
I think capsule is called a K12. I think it's a Kevlar capsule.
Okay. I'm learning this as you're saying this.
Yeah. So vintage ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Which I've only used twice. And I was like, okay, these are actually good, but I fucking hate them on vocals.
Yeah. I agree. I think there are some people who sound good on it.
Sure.
But that is so few and far in between. And every time I've used it, I've been just like.
And that's not our game. Our game is get shit done.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why I have the Fleet 47 and I'm like, that sounds good on like 95% of singers.
Exactly.
You know? Guitar rig.
Plug.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plug. Oldie but a goodie.
Yep. It's still have you used the new 1.7?
I haven't, but I do want it.
It's good. It's solid. Every time I use it, I'm like, oh yeah, this sounds pretty great.
I also just don't have enough modelers, so you could have said anything and I probably would have said plug.
That's fair. Just in general, Les Paul guitars.
Plug. My main guitar is the Les Paul custom that I won in Hotspur.
Oh.
In New York. Do you know New Music Seminar?
No.
It was like a thing that they did in New York for a long time, and so we did this like Webster Hall thing and
I had no.
won. And won that Les Paul. It's a fucking nice Les Paul.
Is it
custom.
a Gibson?
Yeah. Gibson Les Paul custom.
Why?
It's got the side rails.
I've probably played it and I can't imagine it in my head. What color is it?
It's a what do you call it? Like sunburst.
Okay, yes. Okay, now I can imagine in your studio.
Yeah, sunburst.
Okay. I was like, I couldn't for a second. Okay. Altiverb.
Unplug.
It's too expensive.
It's too expensive, and you can load IRs and everything.
Yeah.
There's so many reverbs you can load an IR in.
This one I'm not sure if you've ever used. Outputs Portal.
Unplug.
Yeah. I've had fun with it, but it's like I'm not reaching for it enough where I would like recommend it to someone.
Every output product I've bought, I inevitably unplugged.
Yeah.
Eventually.
That's fair.
Yeah.
The desks are good.
The desk. Yeah, the desk. I mean, I put mics together with him in
Yeah,
his old studio.
yeah,
It was a blast. It was so easy to put
yeah.
together.
I
He
put
had that
together a
thing up
couple.
in no time.
Yeah, I had one, and I've put together a few others.
Yeah, if you're a publisher out there and you're putting rooms together,
Just get
just
that.
get that.
They're great. They work. Okay, and finally, because I respect you so much as a vocal producer and
Wow.
engineer.
Wow.
s-
Don't say Melodyne or
no, CLA vocals.
uh, plug because I like the effects. I would never use it on a vocal or like a real vocal.
Yeah.
I can't. It's unusable.
I
Truly.
used to use it all the time.
It sounds terrible. Yeah,
Yes.
if I get a track from somebody, I can instantly tell if that's what they did.
Yeah. I think it's like for me, this was like when I was, just beginning to be a producer and I wasn't like I wasn't having solid sounding tracks like mix wise until the last like 3-4 years. I really learned a lot from honestly like DJ, working with him. He like
Yeah.
taught me a lot.
And he's an engineer.
Yes. Yeah, he's so good at that, and, like, he really, like, got my ass off CLA vocals, but I was using it a lot, and sometimes I will go back to it, not for a lead vocal. I think it's learning how to use it in moderation.
Oh, I use it for gangs and
Yep.
like big backgrounds.
Yeah, it's like learning how to use any of those can do all vocal plugins in moderation, I think is key.
I have questions actually about this plug that
Go.
maybe you know the answer to because maybe this is helpful for the listeners. Does it have a lot of latency?
CLA vocals?
Yeah.
No.
So maybe it's a great cutting tool.
I mean,
Put it
listen,
on while you're cutting.
Yeah, no,
Like depending on what you're doing, if you're not
I
using console or something like
Yes.
that, if you're like monitoring in your DAW.
Yes, and
That
I
might
think the
be
problem
great
with
for
that
that.
though is that, like, this is where I believe that, like, sometimes giving someone too hyped a vocal,
To sing to
yeah,
makes them under sing. Yeah.
and so it's like a thing, everything is like a case by case thing, but
This it's also why I don't like cutting people with tune.
sometimes I'll do it if I'm, like, in the room, like, "Oh, I think they need it to build up their confidence."
Yep, confidence only. If you need it for confidence, I'll give it to you, but
Yeah.
otherwise
Or if it's like they've only ever sung with tune and it's like, I don't feel like trying to convince you of this
right.
otherwise right now."
It's not hard to convince people though. You just say you're a fucking great singer
Yeah.
and you sound better when you don't sing through autotune.
Yep.
Like listen to it with it off.
Yeah.
And then listen to this take you just did when I took it off and you didn't even notice.
And I will do that, like, where if I'm, like, listening to them and I'm like, I truly believe that the autotune is not helping.
Is this the tuning episode?
It's the tuning episode. Well, I knew we were gonna talk a lot about vocal stuff.
Yeah.
Because, like, both of us do a lot of vocal production.
Yeah.
And all
Although
that
we
fun
haven't
stuff.
talked about vocal mixing at all.
No. No, and I kinda did that on purpose.
Okay.
Because I think, that's what mixers are for. But
Everybody, you figure it out for yourself.
Yeah. Just
Don't use CLA vocals.
don't use
that's all.
CLA vocals and focus on the mids.
You make a very good point about hyping up too much while tracking.
It's a real danger. What I use a lot tracking now that I think actually helps a lot is Oxford Inflator.
Oh, interesting.
I find having that in console just where it's like whatever it's doing. I don't know exactly. It's compression, but it's parallel.
I don't have the UAD one.
Get the
That's
UAD.
why.
I mean, the UAD one is not cheap, but having that where it's like someone's like, "Oh, I just want to hear a little bit more myself," and I'm like, "I don't want to compress you anymore," and I just do that. They're like, "Oh, this is great."
You want to know what